And I'm back with more Spirit of Justice. We're amidst the divination seance. The successful one this time. And we're going to see about it. So let's go. Man, they don't, and this one's quicker. Second statement was right. The night of the right, oh, it was dark. Second frame.
Objection!
I think I got it. Yo! Was it really the night of the right? What do you mean? It could not be otherwise. The accused slew Acolyte Zealot after killing the High Priest during the purification rite. The only problem is the deceased spirit does not corroborate that. What's this? Take a good look at what the victim smelled. Do you see how it says gingle? Acolyte Zealot shouldn't have smelled any gingle on the night of the rite. What do you mean? Let me back up my statement with some evidence for you. This should explain how the victim couldn't have smelled gingle.
Take that!
The High Priest's wife, Believe in Me, told me about the Feast of Blessings. The feast includes a number of gingle-based dishes, and they're only supposed to be served at a certain time of day before the rite. Well, I believe you're right. I'd completely forgotten about that. During the feast, the unique smell of gingle pervades the entire kingdom. The fact that the victim smelled it means he was murdered between noon and 3 p.m. the day before the purification rite.
That's enough!
I am not so easily fooled. Did that autopsy report not make it clear? The estimated time of death was during the rite. Oh, right, I taught her about that yesterday. Forgive me, Your Benevolence, but the estimated time of death is just that. An estimate. Depending on circumstances, it's possible for it to change. What's this? Like, if a body was kept cold, the slowed rate of decay makes the death seem more recent. Why, I believe I've heard something of that sort before. If it is as Mr. Wright claims, the estimated time of death on the autopsy report will have to be revised. Barbed head, you blinded me with science! Of course. Sorry? Wait, what am I apologizing for? It was her pun. It was her reference. No matter. I've got way more 80s music pun. It was an 80s song, wasn't it? Anyway, the murder may have occurred in the afternoon hours the day of the rite. Nevertheless, the murder weapon with the accused prince on that is incontrovertible evidence. I will now amend my insights to account for this new truth. It was the afternoon. Pattern of the plaza grounds visible. Present site. The time of death has been corrected, leaving my insights infallible. Nick, change in time of death is bound to cause some sort of inconsistency. If I had something that showed that it was like the time of day, it could really help. Okay, so second frame. Alright. New statement. Anywhere on the green floor.
Objection!
Oh, this one's too easy. Changing the date and time of the crime. Ah, shit. Has caused a new inconsistency to surface. What's this? Ugh! You're making that irritating face again! Cease that at once! Sorry, but this is the face I was born with. Now let's focus on what's important. What the victim saw in his final moments. Do you have bats in the belfry, barbed head? There is nothing to see. The ground at the plaza was all that entered the victim's eyes. No. And that's what I find so strange. On the day before the rite, it should have been impossible to see that pattern on the ground. Impossible, you say? Do explain. This piece of evidence shows why the plaza ground was not visible that day. Let's see, May 9th.
Take that!
This newspaper has an article that is tiny in size but huge in importance. It says that the ground was covered with thick white ice the day before the rite. What? But the victim did not see so much as an ice cube on the ground. Exactly. And so we must ask, what was the victim looking at in his final moments? If you have something to say, then say it. The last thing the victim saw was not the ground at the Plaza of Devotion. This can only mean he was killed elsewhere. What? Huh? What? What? Then where do you propose the victim was actually killed? Yes, tell us where, otherwise your argument is useless. About that. I ain't gotten to that part yet. Any ideas, Maya? Let me think. Well, it's somewhere green and shaggy, right? Where could that be? What is it, barbed head? Giving up already? Not at all. Where am I seeing something green and shaggy? This shows where the victim was killed.
Take that!
The secret hideout the rebels were using. The rebel hideout? There's no such place anywhere on the floor of that chamber. You're absolutely right. There's no place on the floor, anyway. And what did the victim see in his final moments if not the floor of the rebel hideout? This is what the victim saw.
Take that!
The shaggy green surface the victim saw was one of the moss-covered stone slabs. As you can see, there are two distinct hand-shaped impressions in the moss. I believe the victim was killed when he stood there with his hands pressed against the slab. It does agree with the seance vision. However, one cannot definitively declare they are one and the same. I concur. There's no proof that a murder occurred in the rebel hideout. Indeed. What evidence do you have of this? I've already shown you the evidence. What do you mean? Please take a look at the second version of the photo I just showed you. You can see results of the luminol test I performed in the rebel hideout. This is proof positive that someone had been bleeding in front of the stone slab. Is that true? This information has already been provided to the police. Detective Sky, to whom does this blood belong? We thought it was the High Priest's blood that flowed in from the outside. So we haven't tested it yet. Then you must do so at once. Yes, Your Majesty. It appears the police have finished testing the blood. Detective Sky, your report, please. The blood found in the rebel hideout belongs to Puri Zealot, just like the defense claims. Detective Sky, do you realize what this blunder has done to me? When this trial concludes, I want to see you in my prayer chamber. There I will deliver a joyous sermon to you for 8 hours straight. Oh, I'm really sorry, but anything but that. Nick, maybe Just maybe this is the chance we've been waiting for. It seems so. Hate to do this to Emma, but go for it. It's full speed ahead. The victim was killed in the rebel hideout the day before the purification rite. Then his body was moved to the Plaza of Devotion by someone we've yet to identify. So when we thought we saw Acolyte Zealot praying, he was already dead. Ugh. And that's not all. If he was killed at the Inner Sanctum, then that would explain one more thing. And that would be how the time of death was made to look later than it actually was, the proof of which was left behind at the Sanctum. This points to how the time of death was made to appear later than it actually was. Shoveled area of snow. Yeah, Inner Sanctum photo.
Take that!
Why, these are photos of the Inner Sanctum? I'd like you to focus on this one. The proof is right here in the photo. This is how the time of death was made to appear later than it actually was. You see how the snow had been removed from this one spot only? It's because it was used to keep the victim's body cold. And that's why the time of death wasn't what it seemed. The time was mistaken. And the place too. And just what do you believe that proves? That my client is innocent. What of her fingerprints on the dagger? The Blue Punisher theme the victim heard. You failed to address those two key pieces of evidence. I see your point. Wasn't this your big chance, Nick? I'm really hoping that the difference is in the location can invalidate either the weapon or the theme song used as evidence. Actually, that might be possible, at least for one of them. Really? What's this? You say you can contradict our argument with a key piece of evidence? Very well. Let us see you try. Take a good look at the rebel hideout photo. Oh! The defense can invalidate this piece of evidence. Plumed Punisher theme. And how do you tend to support a claim? Since the murder happened in the rebel hideout, there's something there that played the theme song other than my client's strap. It wasn't the strap. Is this true? The clock, yay.
Take that!
This is a Plumed Punisher alarm clock. I believe the victim heard its alarm go off. What proof do you have that the alarm went off?
Objection!
What proof do you have that it was my client's strap that played the theme song? Ugh. Do not twist the facts with your lawyerly wiles. Either way, the accused would still be guilty based off her prints on the murder weapon. And here is what really happened. I'm gonna call block for a second. Okay, insight revised. Alright, first statement at third frame. Okay, so first statement, victim stood with his hand on the stone slab. Third touch. Though there have been some twists and turns, this is the truth of what really happened. Won't get anywhere until I can eliminate the dagger. Most impressive, your benevolence. I see no inconsistencies anywhere in your prosecution's case. No, there is one. What's this? You still claim there to be an inconsistency? Try as you might, the outcome will always be the same. Okay. Third frame. Victim stood with his hands on the stone slab, heavy. Okay.
Objection!
Alright. The victim was originally thought to have been stabbed while bent over in prayer. But he was actually standing with his hands against a stone slab. So the question is, where did this sensation of something heavy come from? I see your point. Since the victim was standing, he couldn't have been down. He couldn't have been held down. Then tell us, Mr. Wright, what was the heavy sensation felt by the victim? What caused the heavy sensation that Zelda felt? Any thoughts, Maya? I agree, the sense of heaviness seems important, but it's also the matter of Zealot's hands on the slab. Why are they even there? Could be related to the cause of the heavy sensation? Well, Mr. Wright, you have an answer for us? Of course. I just envisioned the state Zealot was in when he was killed. The cause of the heaviness was the falling stone slab. The only conceivable cause is the stone slab falling over, trapping the victim underneath. What? Oh, stone slab came falling down on him, crushing him underneath. Right, that was the cause of the heavy sensation the victim felt. While your theory is impressive, you've overlooked a key fact. The victim was not crushed to death. Rather, he was stabbed. Oh, yeah. Or do you claim that the dagger was plunged in after the slab had fallen on him? Present inner sanctum. Plus, had the killer been behind the victim, they would have been both crushed together. Well, would you care to explain? Sure, I'd love to. Doesn't mean I can. How can the dagger have been plunged in after the slab fell on the victim? The killer couldn't have plunged the dagger into the victim after the slab fell on him. But what if the murder weapon wasn't what we thought it was? Well, there were other weapons at the rebel hideout. But the entrance to the hideout was right up against the stone slab. There isn't enough space between the two to use any of the weapons found within. Yeah, there's not much space in the entrance, is there? So what was the real murder weapon then? Better think of something. The murder weapon wasn't the dagger. Then the dagger must have been plunged after the victim was already dead. And that means he was stabbed at least twice, but the autopsy doesn't mention that. Then he must have been stabbed in the same spot with something shaped like a dagger. Would the defense care to offer an explanation sometime this century? Wait, wasn't there something dagger-like at the scene of the crime? Something that had a shape similar to the Warbot dagger? Present your evidence at this time, Mr. Wright. This shows what really killed the victim. Let's see, inner sanctum photo.
Take that!
Is this not the photo from the scene of the High Priest's murder? Are you suggesting the murder weapon is hidden? This is what really took his life.
Take that!
But that's the Warbot statue. Exactly. The Warbot statue has dagger-like feathers protruding from it. This is what really took the victim's life. Oh. Ugh. You imbecilic fool. The statue is outside the hideout. How do you propose it impaled someone who was inside? Haven't you heard? The Warbot statue also functions as the door. What do you mean? The statue can pull a complete switcheroo. Switcheroo? To put it simply, it's a revolving door. A revolving door, why that makes perfect sense. Therefore, I believe the truth behind the divination seance is this. As the victim entered the secret hideout, the stone sculpture came toppling toward him. He threw up his hands to stop it, but its weight forced him backwards. Unfortunately, the Warbot statue was right behind him. This cannot be! But the accused fingerprints were found on the dagger. She had held it while she was rehearsing for the rite, which is why her prints got on it. Ugh. This is a shocking turn of events, but there is a great deal of circumstantial evidence in the defense's favor. I believe we must accept that the Warbot statue was what killed the victim. Now that we know that Acolyte Zealot really how he met his real demise, there's no basis for claiming my client committed the crime. Nice work, Nick. Helping this be happening yet again. The divination seance is the only truth. No, Your Benevolence. It's not the truth itself, but it is a means. It is a means for shedding light on that truth. Do you understand now? Your kingdom needs lawyers so they can interpret your insights. But that means I've been misinterpreting the voices of the spirits all this time? Your Benevolence, are you unwell? All the colors drained from your face. I will be fine. Continue your proceedings without me. As you wish. I feel kind of bad. Now then, I would have the defense continue. Please explain what you've learned now that we know how the victim actually died. Acolyte Zealot was killed in the hideout before the High Priest's murder. That means the body found at the Plaza of Devotion was moved there by the real killer. But only after the Warbot dagger had been thrust into him, to make it look like the murder weapon. And it does seem to agree with what we now know, but why would the real killer go to such lengths? I believe the stabbing of Acolyte Zealot's body was to make it look like a serial murder. It was an attempt to make my client look like a serial killer. That's right. The real killer planned all of this. The forged serial murder case. They did? That's it, Nick. Keep hammering away. Your reasoning has more holes in it than cheese you foreigners enjoy. What? Like this putrid hole-ridden little clumps of currents that only a rat like you could love. Your reasoning, much like your putrid hole-riddled brain, has putrefied. What's his deal with things going putrid? That's what I want to know. You have yet to overturn my argument that the accused is the killer. Careful analysis of the chain of events up to the killing exposes the truth as follows. Disguised as Lady Kira, the accused found the rebel hideout the day before the rite. But Acolyte Zealot had followed her there, noticing her suspicious behavior. Caught by surprise, she pushed the stone slab toward him. And we know the rest. I've never been in the rebel hideout in my life! When the High Priest arrived at the sanctum the next day, he realized what she had done. That is when the accused murdered him in order to silence him. I believe Prosecutor Sadmati has proposed a compelling scenario. The defense, on the other hand, has yet to disprove the accused's case. Why would my client move Acolyte Zealot's body to where everyone could see it? And why would she stab the dagger with her fingerprints into the dead body? She had no reason to do any of those things. The dagger in his corpse was likely a warning to the rebels. Something along the lines of, Lady Kira will slay the defiant dragons. So that is why she moved the body from the plaza for all to see. Really, is the judge convinced too? I thought I'd finally made some headway. Well, Mr. Rite, about time for one of your groans of distress, is it not? Groan of distress? Kills me to admit this, but I got nothing to counter his argument. I still haven't disproved the allegations against Maya. Is it not time to end your futile struggle? You were already judged guilty yesterday. That makes you a dead lawyer walking. Accept the death that now awaits you, and in doing so, finally know peace. A dead lawyer walking indeed. Then again, are not all lawyers who practice in Kurain? But I must admit I misspoke. Allow me to amend my statement. I had said the defense's reasoning had a putrid cheese-like smell. But I now realize the stench was from his own putrid body, on the verge of death. Now I am a rotting zombie? Think we could have killed Zealot the day before the rite. Who knew about the rebel hideout and could gain access to the inner sanctum? Only those involved with the rite could enter the sanctum, so... Wait a second. Only a rebel would have known about the secret hideout. And the only person who was involved in the rite and had access to the sanctum and was suspected of being a rebel is... Oh! Somebody come to mind? Yeah, except there's one huge problem. A huge problem? What are you two going on about? Plotting your escape from the Sacred Hall. I would not put it past you, considering you have no means of raising further objection. If I don't do something, the prosecutor will have this one in the bag. I just have to bluff my way out of this, regardless of the huge problem. Your Majesty, I believe there's another suspect in Perez Zealot's murder. Even the most benevolent Holy Mother would not forgive such a desperate lie. After all, you know very well that such a person does not exist. No, there is one person who knew everything. Does such a figure truly exist? Tell us who that might be. I believe the prime suspect in Acolyte Zealot's murder...
Take that!
It had to be someone allowed to enter the sanctum, and who knew of the hideout. And that would be the High Priest. He could have committed the crime if it occurred the day before the rite. You would pin a crime upon the dead, knowing very well they tell no tales. Have you no shame? Dead men tell no tales. That's definitely a problem. If only the High Priest could tell his side of the story. What, do I have something on my face? Wait a second. This actually works? Oh no, don't tell me I have some of that breakfast caught between my teeth. No, if there's even the slightest possibility, I have to go with it. Your Majesty! Dead men do tell tales. Therefore, I would like to request the High Priest's testimony. His testimony? And just how do you propose we get the deceased to testify? There is a way for the dead to testify. It's known as channeling. Summon him here by means of spirit channeling. What did you just say? Spirit channeling? Has he gone insane? This is sacrilege. Only the Holy Mother's strike him down. Peace. I am frankly astonished you even know of such a thing. But spirit channeling is a secret art that only Her Eminence Queen Garon can perform. And Her Eminence is far too busy with other duties to perform it at our pleasure. I suspected as much. It means our only hope. It's okay, Nick. You can tell them. But Maya, I thought you wanted to keep it a secret from here in Karayan. Don't worry. It's not like it's against the law or violates some religious precepts, so I don't think we'll be punished. At least, I hope not. But this is a crucial period for you. It'll decide whether you become a master of Karayan. We don't have any other choice, now do we? If I'm found guilty, it'll be a lot worse than not becoming master of Karayan. Alright. Thanks, Maya. Actually, there is someone here who's capable of channeling spirits. But even her benevolence, Princess Rayfa finds the divination seance a challenge. Who could possibly have greater spiritual power than she, aside from the Queen? That would be me. Is this some sort of joke? A foreigner could not possibly have such power. Even the royal priestess isn't capable of that. Peace! Peace, I say! Is this true? Is the accused capable of performing the secret art of spirit channeling? Well, yes, I can. Now, Your Majesty, we'd like your permission to begin. Uh-oh. Your benevolence. This is an outrage! An outrage, I say! First you make a mockery of the divination seance, and now spirit channeling? Your benevolence speaks the truth. Spirit channeling is a sacred rite. Foreign devils, I say they be put to death immediately. Still your voices. Barbed head. Spirit channeling is a most sacred and secret of arts. Are you prepared to face the consequences of what you propose? Yes, I am. Your benevolence, are you saying you approve of their use of spirit channeling? I will judge whether their claim is true. If it is but another of their lies, they shall be executed on the spot. Very well, then. Your benevolence. What if the accused accidentally calls forth an evil spirit? Do you truly believe this foreigner is capable of channeling spirits? No, but I wanted to be sure, as I am responsible for the safety of all present. An inexperienced practitioner could inadvertently call forth a dangerous spirit. But do not fear, for I have a Magatama of parting. With it I can send spirits back to the Twilight Realm by halting the flow of spiritual power. That is a relief indeed. These foreigners have thrown down the gauntlet. Let us not shirk from their challenge. We must prove them guilty and deliver their last rites. Do I make myself clear, prosecutor? Perfectly, Your Benevolence. Very well, the accused may channel the High Priest's spirit. But first we must take a short recess to prepare. We'll resume as soon as the preparations are complete. Until then, the court is adjourned. Hooray! We made it to the second half of this trial bit. Yay! It's been a long time since we saw Maya do any of this stuff. She's gonna try channeling a spirit next time.